Hello, welcome to Phantom Access. I'm Karen. I'm here with our co-host AJ. AJ, want to give the weekly welcome?
Thank you, everybody, for coming to. I don't know what's our show now. SciFi Fandom Access.
You have some bad sound, AJ, going on your phone. You're very staticky there.
That sucks.
Maybe better want to hang up and call back.
There's no hanging up and calling back.
Oh, there's no hang up. You have some real. Do you hear it? Can you hear it?
Everything sounds good to me.
Oh yeah, it sounds very like staticky robot-y. But well, maybe it'll shake itself out in a minute. Everybody, hi, everybody, welcome. Today's Tuesday, February 13th. We are waiting for Jamie to clock in here. Surprised she's not here already. And we have a not a huge show tonight. Things are still a little slow, right? But Quantum Leap is back.
And what's back. We'll have Resident Alien next week.
We will have Resident Alien next week, yeah. And we're gonna recap a little True Detective, which we've been watching, and a few other things. Maybe I know Jamie's got a few announcements for tonight. I might have to send her a text message and see where she is here.
She texted that she was going to be about 5 minutes late.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see that now. So all right, I know she's been doing a couple interviews and she's got a couple of announcements to make. As soon as she gets here, I guess we'll do talk about Quantum Leap first, because that is the only show that she watches with us before we move on to a couple other things. Actually, while we're waiting for her, AJ, did you get to the end of Percy Jackson?
I did.
You did? All right. So maybe
definitely,
we can.
Last two episodes were definitely better than the rest of the show.
Here she is. Hi, Jamie.
Hello. Am I on? Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah. You sound great.
Okay, good. Ark's saying somebody has bad connection. I'm guessing it's
AJ.
Apparently, I have bad connection.
Yeah, maybe go out of the studio and come back in and see if that helps.
All right, we'll try that.
Are you on your other phone?
He's on his phone.
Yeah, but I mean, he got a different phone, right?
It's the same. No, it's the same.
No, he's on his regular phone.
Same phone, okay. Different number. But I got that straightened out. I'm trying to figure out how to leave.
Yeah, because it's really hard to hear you, and you sound like you're underwater, which doesn't help.
He's gonna leave and come back. We were gonna do a little Percy Jackson, maybe.
Okay, well, I still haven't seen it, so go for it.
I know. Well, we can wait for AJ to leave and come back in a second. While I'm trying to load up some slides here, do some other things. Jamie, do you want to maybe talk about some of the exciting stuff going on over at scifivision.com?
Sure.
While AJ gets himself together?
Sure. I just earlier posted the first of the Resident Alien. I keep wanting to call it Resident Alien interviews with Corey Reynolds. And I have 2 more of those that will be going up hopefully tomorrow. And then tonight we're going to put it up right when we're allowed, at 3 a.m., Jill Roby's review of The Ones Who Live will be going up. So people can look forward to that. And then within the next few days, maybe tomorrow, depends on through all of this when I get done, I have The Ones Who Live interview that's going to go up as well. And then I just scheduled, sorry, I was late. My site was being shitty and wasn't listening to me. I just scheduled for 11 o'clock the interview with Caitlin Bassett and Eliza Taylor for Quantum Leap that I did yesterday. Is going to go up at 11 Eastern tonight. And then Friday I have an interview with Raymond Lee for Quantum Leap. So, and then the executive producers after that next week. So people can send those questions in on Twitter and check that stuff out.
That's cool.
Thank you.
That's a lot of fun stuff coming up. Yep. AJ, hello. Oh my God! Stop!
That's He's a chipmunk. Oh God.
Oh my God. Okay.
Hi.
We're gonna,
I was gonna say. In the meantime, we have a listener from York, England, Jason Kellner. So
wow.
thank you for joining us all the way from England. Sorry about AJ's audio. We're trying here to fix it. But,
Oh my God. You have to know, AJ.
can you call in from a computer directly rather than the phone? Maybe that would be a better, because we can't even understand you now.
It's like a duck
There,
quacking.
he went out. He must be going to come back. So just everybody can give him a chance. So tonight we're going to be talking about Quantum Leap and the Marvels, and you guys are going to talk about Percy Jackson because I still haven't had a chance to watch it. And yeah, it's a short night tonight. And then next week, Jill Roby's going to come and be our special guest, and she's at least going to talk a little bit about the ones who live. And granted, she will not be able to spoil it because when she comes next week, but she couldn't come the week after, so she can at least discuss it a little bit, and I'll give my thoughts and in preparation for the premiere, which is the following week. So.
Yeah, that's exciting. So
that is to come.
All right, so I just finished watching the Marvels 5 minutes ago, and you've seen it's a very old movie. So let's bang this thing out.
Very old. It's not that old. You say that like it's like years old.
Well, I mean, if you
no,
saw the movie theater, you saw it like 2 months ago now.
I know. I seen it like a week ago, maybe at most. Because I remember I'm still housebound pretty much, so I did not see it in the theater.
So I have to agree that I thought this was a terrible movie.
Sorry, I'm unbuckling my boot. If everybody hears that noise,
that's pretty loud. I thought this was I agree with most of the critics. This was a pretty bad movie. I felt like the plot was sort of okay. So this was a movie that really required you to have watched a lot of previous Marvel stuff and understand it and remember it. And they didn't really. I mean, look, I probably would have complained if there was a ton of exposition, right? I'm sure I would have complained about that. And now I'm also going to complain that there wasn't maybe enough. I mean, I remembered it, right? I didn't really need to see a ton of exposition, but it was, I mean, you had to really have watched all this stuff. It was, and the plot was a little, so it's so stupid. Like, your planet is dying and you have the capability to go and take over another planet and just live there. Which seems it would have been a lot easier than trying to steal the entire atmosphere from one planet and the entire ocean from another planet and the entire sun. Like it was a very
it was convoluted.
Like, it was a very convoluted plan. I mean, I guess most evil people in movies have complicated plans, right? But it was it was really overly and there was also that part where the Kree are like, oh, they're calling, what do they call Captain Marvel? The Annihilator. They're like, it's your fault. So she destroyed the AI and that launched a civil war, right?
Yeah.
But it's not really her fault they destroyed their own planet, right?
Well, okay, first of all, let me briefly tell you what I think, because I disagree with some of what you're saying. Okay. I agree with the fact that the plot is very confusing and convoluted and that you had to have watched different Marvel movies. I mean, it did explain, granted, what you missed, but it explained it very quickly. Hey, AJ. He sounded like a chipmunk again. But it explained it very quickly, and mixed in with the previous Marvel stuff was at least I think it was supposed to be new Marvel stuff about Carol's she's obviously not her real niece, but her niece. And I was confused because I finally figured out that was new, but the rest was old and it was kind of mixed up and it was confusing. That part I agree with, but I dislike it. I actually enjoyed it. I mean, it doesn't look, there wasn't tons of logic. I agree with that, but I found it very funny. I really like Kamala. We said it before, we like in her show. And I like the three women together. I like that it was like a strong, group of females. Did it make 100% sense? No. Is it the best plot? No. But it is also a Marvel movie. I don't generally go to a Marvel movie expecting to have, super detailed plot lines with twisty science fiction and everything. I expect to enjoy it and have a good time. And I laughed a lot. Yes, it was ridiculous at times, but I still thought it was funny. Like even a Flurkin, like eating the people and spitting, throwing them back up. Like it was totally ridiculous, but it was funny. The only part I would say that I could have done without was the singing planet. I thought that was a little too.
That was the worst. Singing planet was the worst.
That I did not enjoy. But everything else, I actually really liked it. I mean, like I said, it wasn't like my favorite Marvel movie ever, but I enjoyed it. And we have right now, Dan is saying that there's nothing on TV right now. Yeah, it's a slow week for our discussion this week. Although I watch HGTV and Food Network, so I can't say that. But yeah, I don't know. I liked it, but for Marvel movie, was it my favorite? No, it was probably one of my least favorites. But I liked it. And I wish they'd have another season of Miss Marvel. I really like her the most. She's, I think, the best, and her family is awesome. Well, we said this before. I mean, this is not a new discussion.
We got a little static bug there. I think it's poor AJ. It's funny because you know how AJ has. Oh my God, AJ!
I don't think AJ is going to be
able to.
Did you try calling from the computer? Or are you still on a phone?
Well, you're gonna have to type in the chat.
Yeah, we can't, AJ. We can't understand anything. You sound like a computer. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with his connection. He disappeared again. We'll see.
Maybe getting a lot of snow.
Remind me though. I was trying to remember. Oh, okay. I was going to say, what was the after credit scene? It was the other girl, her joining the X-Men
Hawkeye
universe. And the Hawkeye thing. Yeah, the Hawkeye thing too.
I just feel, Jamie, that so the Musical Planet is a perfect example of, with each Marvel movie, I'm complaining a little more about the humor, and that I feel like they are I enjoy a well-placed joke and some good humor placed in a movie, particularly a superhero movie, but I have felt increasingly with each film that they're forcing them to be more comedic than they need to be.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But
how
that a lot of the funny ones. I mean, like don't get me wrong, I love the serious ones too, but I like both.
Something like that Musical Planet is like a perfect example of like writers forcing
that part was too much
comedy, and that's like unnecessary and not funny. And I did think by the end of it, the Flurkins like vomiting people up was maybe a little too much there near the end of it.
It was over the top, but I still laughed, I think, every time.
Yeah,
look, I would say this is more of a family friendly. I mean, because some of that, like, that's more humor that probably a teenager maybe would enjoy. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, I liked it. I thought it was funny. I liked the characters. It was just very light on plot.
How much
the villain. Sorry, I just wanted to really quick address what you were saying. They explained the whole reason she took the other planets because they were all planets that were important to Carol. I mean, that was why she took their atmosphere, their planet. So it did explain that. Did it make sense that she did that? Again, yeah, maybe not. But
that's another place where
this is one of those things where all the villain had to do was explain to them what was wrong, and they would have helped her. But that's nothing that happens a lot.
This is another example of how every superhero villain and every like James Bond villain, like if you just annihilate a couple planets that Captain Marvel doesn't know about, you could totally get away with it. But you have to put your personal vendetta in there, and that's your downfall, right?
Of course.
I thought they could have done a better job with Monica Rambeau. She felt a little shoehorned in there to me, partly because she hasn't really been seen since WandaVision. And if you didn't know, you didn't watch.
Yeah, I didn't remember her at all, other than from excuse me, from Captain Marvel.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, and this is the biggest bomb that Marvel has had. Like Quantum Mania didn't do well. The Marvels is like acknowledged bomb. Like it did way worse than Quantum Mania, and it is like the bottom of the MCU. So they need to hopefully learn some lessons from this moving forward. But yeah, I enjoyed the little last scene with Ms. Marvel and Hawkeye. And if AJ were, he'd talk about the new movie that's in development, which is okay. It's not called like I forget what it's called. It's not called like the Young Avengers, but there's a we saw like at the end of the Black Widow movie where the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character is like recruiting the younger sisters, and she recruits that like bad Captain America guy, and there's like a new crop of like younger heroes. What was that movie going to be called?
That is, I have no clue. I'm not the person.
I'm going to Google it real. AJ's probably listening to us being like, the Young Avengers, what are you talking about? I've mentioned this to you a bunch of times. But anyway, like I enjoyed that little ending there. You know how much AJ and I
and there's also all the X-Men stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is called Young Avengers. Maybe that's why it's in my head. It might be called Young Avengers. I did not like okay, one more thing, and then we can move on from this movie. I really, so the post-credit scene where Monica is on the other side and her mother is still alive, and the Kelsey Grammer character, I think his name is Beast, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
I thought that was some pretty bad special. I thought he looked better in the Sony movies from like 20 years ago than he looked better in that scene.
Well, to be fair, I mean, now I don't know because obviously I don't work at Marvel, but I can kind of understand not dumping millions of dollars into character design for somebody that's going to be there for like 5 seconds of a post-credit scene.
He's going to be.
You have to remember, they can't use Sony's footage. Well, I guess they could. I don't know. Do they usually use Sony's footage, or are they not allowed?
I mean, they could. You can do anything you want if you pay for it, right?
But my point is to have him in a post-credit scene for a couple seconds. I don't know that it would have been worth the design. Plus, do we even know, is Kelsey Grammer going to play Beast in the upcoming? I mean, like, I was surprised it was the same actor, but I have to question, is he going to be in the upcoming movies, or is that just for the post-credit scene? Like, it may not be something. We may not see him again. You know what I mean? So it may not have been worth their money to.
Well, I mean, we don't know what X-Men tie-in's the X-Men is already being tied into Deadpool 3, and there's going to be another X-Men movie in Phase 7, right? So will this character be in or not? I don't know. I personally, I think, Jamie, if I watched that on a 55-inch screen today, if I watched it on a 50-foot screen in the movie theater and paid $14 for it, yeah, I think you need to spend the money to make it look good, Marvel.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm just giving you my reason of why I think they didn't. I don't know that that's accurate. That's just my guess.
Yeah, well, you want us to pay $13 and you want to make $100 million or more off this movie, then like put in the effort.
True, but the movie wasn't about him though. That he was in there for like a fraction of a second in the credits. That's the way I'm
okay. But when you start to scrimp on shit like that, is a sign of why your movies are beginning to suck. Like, don't cut like excellence across the board. Excellence across the board, right? That's what I'm paying for.
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm just kind of theorizing that maybe that was why.
I know. You're not saying it's okay. So, yeah. And look, I'm getting mad, and I watched it.
Yeah, don't yell at me, Karen.
I didn't even pay for it. All right, I'll come down. We can move along. Let me try to put up my slideshow. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see if I can make this work. How do you make it? What button did you press last week to make it the main? Oh,
I pressed the wrong thing. You want to do present at the bottom, remember?
Yeah, present slides. Oh, I want to share screen, right?
Yeah. Just share the right screen. That's all.
No, that's wrong. That's not how you do that. Sorry, people out there listening. We're still
the bottom of the screen. At the bottom, the banner on the bottom, the middle one says present. There's an icon.
Yeah, no, that's not how how it works.
Okay. Well, you can press
wait, let me see.
Cinema layout if you want.
Wait, let me see. Slide 1. Boom. It's not working. Why do we not? Why have I been on this?
Let's do cinema layout. You can do cinema layout. That'll work.
No, it's not
Just
working.
pick the picture.
Cinema layout's not working.
Here, let me see if I can do it.
You did it last week.
Okay, banners. Do we want banners?
Here's AJ.
Oh, we don't have our ticker on. There's our ticker. Okay, let's see. Quantum Leap. There we go.
Thank
Ha
you.
There we go.
AJ's back in. Say a couple words. Oh no. No.
No, AJ.
Maybe your microphone's blowing on your phone.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I said. Oh, that's why I said go to the actual computer.
He might have snow. AJ lives in a place.
Well, okay, we heard you that time.
Say a couple words.
How about now?
Oh wow, there.
That's
We can hear you
the
now.
best we've heard of you all
Yeah.
night.
Technology. So, Jamie, did you like curse me or something with your bad technology?
Maybe.
Not bad. AJ, did you watch the Marvels? We just finished recapping the Marvels. We had one thumb up and one thumb down.
Yeah, pretty much. It wasn't as bad as all the hype, everything we heard online and everything. There was
So AJ's somewhere in the middle between me and you. Then it sounds like.
yeah, it was entertaining. I didn't think it was. I mean, Kamala Khan it was great. Mani Valan, she. Without her, I think the movie is awful. I mean, I think I was more excited about the post-credit scenes than I was the entire movie. So yeah. And that cat, the stupid cat scene was just dumb. That annoyed me. It went on way too long.
I said the same thing. It was like enough was enough, and they kept with the.
And it just kept going and going and going, and it just like never stopped.
Did the kids like it? Did the boys like it?
Damon loved it, but Damon loves everything.
And he's like 11?
10.
10, yeah.
Already kind of felt about it like I did.
Yeah.
So,
Artie's like a burgeoning. Artie's been raised like critiquing shows alongside you.
I mean, the fight scenes were pretty fun, especially when they were first learning how to work together. You know, when they couldn't work together, when they were just kind of blooping in and out, that was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, the post-credit scenes were the best. I love when she goes to see Kate Bishop. I thought that was pretty funny, and seeing Beast as Kelsey Grammer as Beast. I mean, the CGI was great for that too, but I kind of missed.
I was just complaining that I thought the CGI was terrible. For that.
I thought that looked great.
I thought he looked better in the old movie.
Well,
No, I agree.
because it was CG rather than a person.
I thought the CGI looked great, but I think I prefer him actually being in the costume.
That's a better way, I think, to describe it than what Kim said. Yeah.
And I think the practical like makeup looked better than the CGI.
Listen, I don't care about anything other than June 24th.
What's that?
Deadpool. That's Deadpool.
Oh, okay.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay. So what Carrie was asking, what is the name of the young Marvels that we or young Avengers? The name of the show coming.
I don't know. That's who knows when that's going to happen.
Then I guess we didn't make anything, right?
That's phase 7. That's far off.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're echoing, Karen. Or I'm echoing through AJ.
Yeah. That's every time you talk, Jamie, it echoes on my. I hear static.
Okay.
when you talk.
Sorry, I do it now.
All right, maybe just mute yourself when you're not talking, AJ.
Why is it my fault? Jamie's staticky.
No, it's not me. It's that I'm echoing through yours, and so's Karen. You both are. We're both echoing through your line, I think.
Karen sounds fine on mine.
I don't know. I don't hear myself echoing now. I just did the one time.
All right,
So,
well, let's try to observe some good microphone hygiene.
Yeah.
And we are ready to move over to Quantum Leap here, which again, we're a week behind. We're going to talk about the episode from last week, which was called The Family Treasure. Now, I wish that NBC on their press site would do a better job of showing there's no picture of Ben in his body. Like I loved Ben in that little dress with the little pearls and whatever that he was wearing, right? When he was this little girl from finishing school. Which we didn't really they never put a good picture up. I can't, Jamie, because you're presenting, you have to advance the slides.
Oh, okay. I never hit present, so
Oh wait, I don't know. Oh, I don't know how to do it. Like I
can do it. It's fine. What is there another Quantum Leap one that I'm unaware of?
yeah, like there's like 5 slides of Quantum Leap because I have all these pictures, but I can't move
That's
it to the
under
next.
overlay. I'm not under. Let me find out what you're under. I don't think I can do that. I think only you can do that. I was under the overlays. I wasn't under.
Like I have the new picture, but I can't make it show.
No, I know. I'm just saying I don't have any other pictures. That's not. It must be on your end what you uploaded because it's not showing on mine.
Okay. Why am I so bad?
I don't know. It says Quantum Leap. I think people can figure it out.
No, I'm going back and trying to do this. Well, all right. Anyway, I'm going to try this while we.
I just picked it under banners. That was all I did.
All right, I'm going to try to do this while we talk. But anyway, so this is like the Indiana Jones kind of episode, where. Did you just put that back up? I just put that off on purpose.
No, I did not touch anything. I ain't even touching it.
Anyway, this is like an Indiana Jonesy type of episode where Ben bloops back in time and he's in the body of a young woman who the father has like left he's left like a treasure map and an adventure for his daughters to solve. And there are these 3 sisters. It was kind of a fun episode. I mean, I kind of enjoyed it. Did you like it?
Yeah,
I enjoyed
it. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was kind of a fun. I mean, I did think it was definitely an Indiana Jonesy kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, and it was definitely like a one-off, episode. It wasn't really much mythology or anything, but it was good. I liked it.
Well,
I can see the picture on your icon. You know what I think it is, Karen? I don't think you're on stage. I think you have to put yourself on stage or something.
I'm on stage.
I don't know. I give up trying to figure it out because I don't see it from my end. The only thing I can do is put Quantum Leap on. We can at least have that, but that's as much as I can do from my end.
All right. I can do it another way actually, but anyway, so sorry, I'm distracted by this problem here. So they go, I guess the 3 girls, like, so in this episode, Ben is one of 3 girls who, like, are always, the 3 sisters don't really get along that well. They're 3 very different personalities, and they're not, like, in sync with each other. And then they decide to go down to Mexico to do their little Indiana Jones journey to find, like, a treasure. And it's not really clear what according to Ziggy, the one sister in the original timeline, the one sister went by herself and she died, right? So
disappeared.
What?
She disappeared.
Oh, she disappeared. Okay. I mean, I would okay, she disappeared.
I would assume she died, but yeah.
We would assume that she died, but yeah. And so the lesson of this is kind of about family, like family togetherness, family whatever, right? I thought it was pretty good. You're right. It was kind of one-offy. It was kind of like not, it was fine. My complaint, if I have them, are the usual complaints about not having enough of Ben in the body, not having enough of Ben like trying to be a woman, those kind of things are the things that I tend to
I agree.
Get a little irritated about. Not irritated, but okay, here's what we're gonna do. Watch this. How's that? Can you guys see that?
No. What are you showing us?
StreamYard is showing my whole slideshow now, right?
Nope.
No, that's why I said I don't think it's shared with you. I think like you're putting it on, but I don't think it's sharing it.
Yeah, I'm sharing it. Man. All right. Well, I'm glad I spent my time working on this today.
Sharing. You're according to the thing, you're not added to the stage for the slideshow.
That's what I said to her. I didn't think she was, but I couldn't remember how to add her. So.
Now you're added.
It still doesn't work.
Well, wait. Now I might have to hide that. There you
Oh,
go.
look!
Nope. Now
Okay, they're the three sisters. Like, I would love for that picture to be him in the dress, right?
No,
So I enjoyed all.
We never saw it unless I missed it. We never saw what Ben looked like as the other sister.
We did, but it was very, very brief.
Oh, really?
He got her in a reflection or something. I forget.
Yeah, I missed it then.
He saw a reflection in a mirror, and he saw the picture on the wall, but we saw him wearing pearls and a skirt.
Yes.
Right? Like, he goes to, even when he goes to Mexico, in the woman's costume is like saddle shoes and jeans or whatever. I just always would like to see him be a little more awkward as a.
I agree.
You know, it was.
Dracula always did a wonderful job as that. Like,
yeah,
the number of times he was a woman. I remember the one episode when Scott Bakula, he was a mom, and I remember him getting undressed the night and taking the clip-on earrings off and everything. He's like, why would they wear these? He's like, these hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say, Art thinks this episode was a little cheesy. It was, but it was, I don't know. I thought it was fun. It was fun. Like I said, it wasn't like really, connected with the rest of the story going on, but
that's
okay.
fine. That's not a bad thing.
But
Addison was along for the ride as the hologram, and the entire time she's not telling Ben that she's planning to elope in about 5 minutes. Like, as soon as the mystery's over, she's going to elope. Jamie and I had this long talk about this, the three of us on chat, I guess yesterday, and maybe we can just put that aside for a second, our thoughts on Ben and Addison, until we talk a little bit more about this episode. It was a little, I mean, Ark is not wrong about it being a little cheesy. They have the obligatory, they're in a cave and there's a skeleton of a dead explorer, and
I have one question for you, because this I didn't get. This irritated me, and this is, I guess, to do with the cheesiness. But do you remember when it flooded?
Yes.
Did it actually flood the building they were in? Because they ran out of the building and stood on the rock. And to me, it looked like, from what I could tell, unless I missed it, the water was not in buildings. Like, it was on the ground. They could have just stayed where they were instead of running, unless I totally missed a little piece there.
The water was about 1 foot deep where they were hiding, right? It was not.
That's why I didn't get why they ran. That part was a little, but other than that.
They don't have the budget.
It was a bit predictable and cheesy, but I still liked it.
They don't have the budget on the show to bust a dam, right? So, and then let's hold off on that guy. It all ends up okay. And the end of the mystery, they find, the father has done this bait and switch where the real treasure is family. Oh, and the girls are like, let's be friends. And then, oh no, the real treasure is at home with family. And it turns out these cheesy looking diamonds that they bought at Party City were in the wall all along, right? They seriously looked like they were from Party City, those diamonds and rubies.
Well, I don't think they're going to use real diamonds on the show.
I don't think real diamonds are used on any show, but I've seen many shows where jewels
less plasticky.
Jewels look a lot better on a lot of shows.
Yeah, I mean, the entire episode was predictable. I figured from the beginning that the whole point of them going on the adventure was to bring them closer together. I mean, that was kind of obvious, I thought.
Yeah. And there was also this story about the one sister who was like, I wouldn't even really call her particularly she was not
non-binary.
Yeah.
Well, she was, but throughout the episode, she's not throughout the episode, she's just not conforming to the period version of a woman, and she keeps saying, "My name is Dean, not Dina." She's not. And at the end, then Ben is like, "Well, and there's this thing called non-binary that I learned at finishing school, and blah blah." And he gives he gives this speech. I mean, that was fine. It was a little. I do agree that it's important for different kinds of people to see themselves in television. I thought I have not been through the situation of being a non-binary person and trying to understand what that's like, so I don't want to sound unsympathetic, but the writing in Ben's speech was in Ben's monologue was just a little after school special and a little like it's like, oh, with 3 sentences has Ben like cured her problems for the rest of her life because she's still gonna have she's still living in this period, right?
I guess, but I felt like it was more about Ian. Did you not feel like that? I mean, I thought it was more just to show that Ben got it, is how I
Yes,
took it.
that
I
Ben,
mean,
because
did
of
it
being friends
really
with
matter? No, I don't want to say did it matter. It's not the right wording, but I mean, was it the main point of the episode that Dina was Dean or wanted to be Dean? I don't know that that was the main, point is what I'm saying. Not that it didn't matter. It does matter, but not that it was the main point. I felt like it was more about Ian and about Ben showing that he accepted Ian. That's how I felt anyway. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
or not just that he accepts Ian, but that Ben really gets it.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, so not for viewers to be seen, but for Ian to feel seen was really the point of this. Is
Right.
what you're saying.
That's how I felt. I mean, I don't have, I'm not non-binary either, so I can't really, know how it feels. But that was definitely how I took it at any rate.
Yeah.
So,
So they focused on Ian the entire time of Ben's little monologue there.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. So then at the end, like it turns out that Rachel's boss is James Frame. Comes in at the end, right? And he's we got all this. I'm experimenting with muting you guys just to see what it sounds like when I talk. I'm not. Anyway, James Frame comes in, and it turns out that he's Rachel's boss, and he's like the billionaire who, like, yeah, it's AJ's mic. He's the billionaire who's been like bankrolling the code that whatever his deal is. I thought it was a little like this is a top secret government facility, and they just came waltzing in. Like first Rachel's in there. I'm like, how'd she get in here? Like, don't you have to be escorted by police and have a clearance or whatever? And then is his name Gideon? Is that his name in this role, or did he play someone called Gideon in a different movie?
I'm looking.
No, it's Gideon.
It's Gideon. I'm like, how did Gideon come waltzing in here? He just can't. Like, what? Why is he in here? Like, how does everybody just walking into?
Powerful, he can do it.
No, I mean it was a little. No, really, like you can't just come walking into Quantum Leap, and he does. But whatever, he's clearly evil. Sorry for our new friend Jason Kellner listening from York, England, but pretty much on this show, if he has an English accent, he's going to be evil, right? Like
I disagree with that too.
I feel like
usually the hot guys have an English accent.
Well, yes, hot guy. Yes. Also, if you're hot, you might have an English accent. If you're a billionaire, you have an English accent sometimes,
too, yeah.
right?
No,
like TV
yeah.
billionaires are cooler and sexier than our real billionaires in life, who are like Mark Zuckerberg and like Sergey Brin and Bezos, right? So he's. I guess he's going to come in and start throwing his weight around and acting like he owns the place. Like, I don't know why Magic wouldn't have armed military officers throw him out immediately. It makes me suspicious of Tom just because everything makes me suspicious of Tom. Although I don't know how long
Tom is going down with that ship, whether it's right or not.
Well, but now we have all of this that went on with him and with Tom and Addison. And we had this long talk, the three of us, about before Age and I had watched this episode. We talked about like what really is going on with Addison and Ben. And now that Ben is in love with Addison, with Hannah, did that play any role in Addison accepting Tom's proposal?
Which I asked Caitlin yesterday in that interview.
So that'll be in your interview when you post it.
Just a quick reminder for people, if you do go listen or watch or read the interview, do realize that there are some spoilers for tonight's episode. We recap a week behind because our show's on Tuesday, and Quantum Leap's on like right now. So the interview has slight spoilers for tonight's episode, so you might want to watch it first. Just heads up. All right, sorry, continue.
But we talked about how like Tom didn't really get to propose. He did, but Addison was like, "Oh, I found the ring. Are you going to propose?" And he was like, "Okay." And he gets on his knee and he proposes, right?
Yeah.
And like what? I don't know. Like she said it was because like she realized you can't waste the time that you have and you have to be happy and just go for it. Like, but I don't know. Was she like because Ben was in love with Hannah, maybe she didn't have to feel guilty anymore and she could move on with Tom? Or because Ben is in love with Hannah, was she like, I'll show you how happy I am too. I'm getting engaged. I don't really know, right? And I won't know till I watch more or read that interview. But by the end of this episode from last week that we're discussing right now, she ends up like taking back her. She's like, I don't right now. She changes her mind and doesn't want to get married right away. She says, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but she says, like, basically, this is a little too weird and I need some time.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't say I won't marry you. She's like, I don't want to look
she just needs a little space, I think she said, or something to that effect.
No, she says I need some time because
and
Tom
says he needs space too, or something like that.
He says, does that also mean space? And she says no.
Right.
And I think she says no. And he's like, yeah, I think it does. I'm out of here. Whoop. Right. And he bugs out right before the evil billionaire shows up. Conveniently. I don't know. I like, what do you guys think? Like Ian and Jen, Ian definitely thought it was too fast. And like, why you got to get married this afternoon, right? Jen maybe didn't agree.
Yeah, I was really surprised when they're not only were they getting married, but they're like, we're going to go down to the courthouse or wherever they were going, and we're getting married today. That surprised me.
Yeah. I don't know where you can even do that in most states, but a lot of states you need to get your
I was going to say, it depends if you have a certificate, I think. Your
license. But, I mean, she says it's too weird. I'm not quite ready. It was interesting that it happened at the end of this episode because Hannah's not in it. Like she didn't, well, I mean, Ben continued to be concerned that he had to alert Hannah to Josh's illness. And I guess Addison was able to see the part where Ben says to his sister, Sarah, can you please email this? Can you send this letter in 1970? And like hold this letter for like 20 years and then send it, right?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't really know what set Addison off to put on the brakes, except maybe being around Ben. Do you think she's okay, Jamie? I mean, setting aside whatever conversation you might have had, and AJ. I mean, do you think she's still in love with Ben? I mean, I do.
I think she's definitely still in love with Ben. But I think this kind of goes back to that conversation again, our text conversation we had, where you were saying about, how Hannah said you can love two people. I don't necessarily think she doesn't love Tom, but do I think she's still in love with Ben? Yes. And I don't think that's fair to Tom, whether she's in love with Tom or not. I mean, it's just unfair to him. So I think she needs to, get her act together, make a decision, and figure out what's going on, and then decide if she wants, you know what I mean? Like she needs to make a decision.
Well,
I mean, I understand that like it kind of keeps swinging back and forth. Like she thought Ben was dead, then Ben was back, but Ben's not coming home, but Ben might be coming home, but Ben's not coming. Like I can understand that that's difficult, but that's why I'm saying like, I don't think it's exactly fair to him. So yeah, I don't know.
I guess. I mean,
I can see her point of view. And yes, I do think she's still in love with Ben. And I understand why she feels like that. But if she's really still in love with, I feel like I agree with what Hannah said. Yeah, you can love two people. But at the same time, Ben is still there, whether she's with him or not. And if she's still going to see him in her life, I feel like it's not fair to still be in love with him and see him every day and yet want to marry somebody else. Like, I just don't think that that's quite fair to him. I don't know. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. I mean, I can see both sides, but at the
Well,
moment, that's how I'm looking at
it
it.
is it is fundamentally different from Hannah, who can be like, I'm in love with Ben, but I'm only going to see him once every 3 to 12 years. So, and then
Yeah,
only for
it's
like
kind of
a short
a lot
time.
different. And that's kind of
So,
my point, that like Addison sees him every day. She works with him every day. Well, maybe
well,
not every day, but most days.
that's her
And
choice.
she
That's her
doesn't,
choice. She
yeah,
doesn't have to be the hologram.
you're right. She doesn't. But I feel like then maybe she shouldn't, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's neither here nor there. It depends how things go.
No,
But
it is. I mean, I think there's a thing going on also where she just is not the same kind of person that Hannah is. And, Addison's very like Ben, like kind of by the book and analytical and straight up. And I feel like Addison is a one woman man, or she believes that you need to be a one man woman, rather, right? Like
yeah.
whereas Hannah maybe is not a person who believes that you can only have one great love at a time. Like, I felt in last week's episode that she was like, "Oh my God, Ben, it's you. Is it really you?" And I feel like she totally was like, "Okay, let's make out." I mean, she didn't, but she would have. I feel like Hannah's a person who'd be like, "I can be married to this guy and have a kid." And if Ben shows up and he's only here for 3 days and I have set, like, I love him, and to like, is it, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
I can't say I don't have a problem with that either.
I mean, she didn't do it. It didn't.
No, she didn't, but she seemed like she would have. And that to me, that's not fair
because
to
she
him.
loves him and he's going to be gone, and it for her, I think maybe it's not incompatible with her marriage. Right?
Yeah, I understand it. I get it, but it still sucks. So I don't know. I mean, the whole situation sucks. You know.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, it's convenient that her husband's going to be dead by the time Ben sees her again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yet Ben's going to write a letter and be like, he can be cured if he gets treated now. Like, Ben
Well, that's who Ben is.
Ben loves her enough to save her husband so that maybe they can't be together. Like, if that letter goes through, it's possible that when he sees her again, the husband won't have died, right? And he will have sacrificed his. I mean, does he have a chance at happiness? No, he's not gonna. He can never really be with her because, like, they're not gonna. Like, if he got stuck in a leap, he'd be in somebody else's body, whatever. They don't really have a chance for happiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not real happiness now.
And he's willing to sacrifice a tiny bit of happiness every now and then for her husband to live and for the child's father to live, I guess.
The big problem I have is Addison's dumb. Go marry Tom Addison. Leave poor Ben alone.
Except Tom's evil. We know Tom's evil.
We don't know Tom's evil. You suspect Tom's evil.
Arc 54 and I know he's evil.
But he doesn't have a British accent.
I don't know. I have chosen to die on this hill in other shows before, and I've been wrong, right? We've been through this before where I had an idea about a character and I stuck with it to the bitter end. I was like, I don't care, AJ. Sansa's definitely gonna whatever, right? Like, I have so many characters that I choose to. I still got a bad feeling about that guy, but I agree with you.
No.
Leave poor Ben alone. Addison, leave Ben alone.
No, I agree. I agree that I think that it's the problem I have with Tom being up to something. It's too cliche. I really hope that it's not the case, just because it's too obvious if it is. Which is why I understand what you think.
Okay, yeah, Michael agrees with you. Michael Day in the chat agrees with you. AJ's right. Fair enough, you guys. But I also think if he's not evil, what's the point? He's so blah. He's so boring. I don't even know. Addison and him are the most, like, they should shoot their scenes in black and white because they're just so boring. Right? And if he's not evil, then what even is the point of him being on the show?
Obstacle.
Purely as he exists purely as a love interest and no other, like, why is he even gotta be, right? Like, he exists only to be the love interest for Addison.
Yeah.
Basically.
For now, anyway.
That's super boring. He's boring, man. That guy is boring. And I feel like he doesn't even Like she could have had any other boyfriend who doesn't have to be like suspiciously involved in stuff. I don't know. Anyway, he also might not be evil because okay, so Michael and AJ, you're right that it's too obvious, but also now we have somebody who probably is actually evil, or maybe not evil, but not a good guy, right?
Oh,
Not
James Crane is
evil.
definitely evil.
I mean, he's not evil like Satan. He's not like possessed by Satan, but he's evil like he is a horrible billionaire who wants to take over the technology for some reason, right? Like for world domination. He's probably bent on world domination somehow.
See, Michael agrees, totally evil.
This guy, yes, Gideon is totally evil. Yeah, he and so I have not seen next week's episode. I've only seen tonight's episode. I've only seen next week's episode is called The Outsider, and which surely is in reference to Gideon. You know, there have been I saw some images floating around where he's like making himself comfortable in the office. I don't really understand how he's going to be like taking over a top secret government run facility, except that he's definitely got Ian and Jen and Rachel where he wants them because they've all committed like they've committed like treasonous crimes, right? By even like creating the situation where Gideon could get involved in the first place. And so he may he may just be able to weasel his way in there from like an extortion-y way, right? Like if you don't want to spend 50 years in jail, then you're going to do what I say kind of thing. I don't know. I was going to say, given that Ian already survived like a nuclear bomb, but Ian didn't. This Ian didn't. That was future Ian. That doesn't ever happen because Ben saved the world.
Yeah.
Well, sure. Anyhow, I'm looking forward to reading your interview, Jamie, after I
Thank you.
And that's over. Everybody, it's at scifivision.com for people who want to see that right away.
Who don't realize that. And I'm trying to see. I was trying to, while I'm talking to you guys, fix this Rafflecopter has been being not so great. Let's put it that way. If I can move it, yes, I'm going to move it. I am going to, so people have a chance here, since it has been making issues. I extended the date till tomorrow. So if you have not entered our giveaway for the Taste of TV book by Sammy, make sure that you do that. And make sure you read the instructions. People do not seem to read the instructions. You need to tweet and fill out the form, or I cannot send it to you. Or she cannot send it to you, I should say. So if you haven't done that yet, check it out. There's still time to do that. And I will repost it again on Twitter and Facebook here.
I just went ahead and bought it. I'm not eligible to win, I assume. So I just bought it. And I'm looking forward to, maybe I'll start making a cocktail from the book and drinking it during our show. Giving a review. All right, so that's where we are with Quantum Leap. We'll have to wait for next week's episode. We, I think, are planning to wrap up Percy Jackson a little bit tonight. You like that new treatment that I got? A new key art from Disney. Better than the old one I was using. That show's over. AJ, you finished watching it with the kids?
Yeah, we finished it.
So I finished a couple weeks ago. We don't need to really belabor it a little bit. I just wanted to like wrap it up. I thought it was generally an okay show. I'll repeat that I just feel like I'm not the key audience for this show. It wasn't really made for like old ladies like me, right?
Old lady, come on.
I think your kids, AJ, are the sweet spot for this show.
Yeah, Artie and Junie have both read the books. Damon's only seen the show, obviously. I mean, we all, Artie and I both, again, had kind of the same problems with our biggest problem. The episodes were way too short. Like, I felt like every time it started to get going, you got the credits. The last two episodes were definitely better. The last two episodes, things started to happen and everything. On a more somber note, that was Lance Reddick's last role was playing Zeus in the finale. You guys still there?
I'm still here.
Yeah, sorry. I just put together a little bit of summary of the last few things since the last time we talked. There was an episode. One of my favorite episodes really was when the kids went to Vegas and they went to this Lotus casino. And I enjoyed it because it really was the story of the Lotus Eaters from Greek mythology. If you guys have studied, I took a whole class on Greek mythology in college, really because it was supposed to be easy. It was like me and my roommate and the whole like men's lacrosse team in this class. Where I went to college, lacrosse was like your football team, right? But in the story from Greek mythology, like the Lotus Eaters are these people who live on this island and they eat the fruit of the lotus tree, and it's like a narcotic, and it makes them like apathetic and like not caring about anything. Like they don't care about anything except like staying there on their island forever and eating the lotus. And if you go there and eat the lotus, you never escape, right? And so I enjoyed this episode because it like reflected this particular myth very well. I enjoyed it. I don't know if you liked that episode. And it's also the episode where they run into Hermes. Lin-Manuel Miranda is there.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So I liked that one. They also end up going down to in the next episode, they go to the underworld to like save Percy's mom, which is a big development. And they run into Jay Duplass. Is that how you pronounce his last name? Who plays Hades. And I really, AJ, did you guys, I enjoyed the Hades scenes also. Like I thought he was a good Hades, not like kind of what you're expecting, right?
Yeah, no, that whole thing was, I liked all the stuff in the underworld. I thought that was pretty good.
I liked how he was like really a perfectly reasonable guy. And he's like, why do you think I hang out? I hate my family. They're all insane. They're jerks who never stop fighting. And that's why I hang out here in the underworld. And I don't want to be involved with these people. And I really want you, right? He's not really trying to, I mean, he's holding Percy's mom really just as a bargaining chip, not because he's really that bad a guy.
Well, he actually saved her life. I mean, she's a bargaining chip, but she would have been dead had he not done what he did.
Yeah, he saved her from the Minotaur, right? Yeah. They eventually get to meet Zeus. Lance Reddick was so well cast as Zeus, wasn't he? He was great.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, it was, as you mentioned, it's his last, at least his last like television. Well, no, he appears in the Ballerina, the John Wick.
Oh, that's right.
Show that's coming, right? I understand he appears in that, and he might have another small movie role coming. I'm not sure, but this is among the last things he shot, and he was a perfect Zeus.
Yeah, he was really good as Zeus. I liked it.
Yeah. We also met Poseidon, who surprised me. I don't know. Poseidon was a little like regular guy also, right? He was very I don't know, he was very normal guy. He didn't, I guess he didn't carry himself as the heavyweight that many of the other gods do, right? He was a perfectly reasonable guy. He's played by Toby Stevens, who I think people might know if they watch Black Sails, which I do not. But he was very like, he's wearing this like Tommy Bahama shirt and kind of like I don't know. It's interesting how a lot of these gods in this show are sort of like very normal person-y. Anyway, he turns out to be a good guy. So they met him. Percy goes to camp. He goes back to camp. He's a hero. It turns out this guy who like he thought was his best friend is actually like the lightning thief, right?
Yeah,
Which Luke. Probably that was a big twist for people who have not read the books or so for Damon, who's neither read the books nor seen the movie, was that a surprise to him?
Yeah, he was like, what?
Everybody else knew it was coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He turns out to be the lightning thief. Oh, that's the last slide I have for the show. It's been renewed. We got word, I think, yesterday that or recently that the show's been
Yeah.
reviewed for season
Yeah, it was
2.
either yesterday. Actually, I think I saw it night of the Super Bowl that I saw that it was renewed.
Okay, so it's coming back. I don't know. I think it'll be a while. Being renewed doesn't mean they've actually written any scripts or anything. I mean, okay, the books, they have the books,
There's
so
a book.
they have the books to go by, but you still need to write all your script. I
Yeah.
mean, it'll be a good year before anything comes out, right?
But,
I have not read the books, and the first movie was the only one that was ever made, right? So
yeah.
there's nothing to, like, unless I'm going to go read those books, which I'm not. I would
Yeah.
watch this show again. One of the main things, I think, the amount of time, how much is the kid's name is Walker Scoville. All these kids are going to grow so much in the next 2 years before they shoot it again, right? That's the main obstacle to these kind of shows, I think, where you have like tweens as your stars. So we'll see what happens. They might have to like
Tall Walt.
They'll all be like Tall Walt.
That's like I can't wait to see Resident Alien tomorrow and see what the kids look like.
Oh my god.
Oh, they've grown.
So
I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
Show's been off so long. I actually before we move on to True Detective, there was a Resident Alien marathon on SciFi Channel over the weekend, I guess, and I caught some late episodes, and I like barely remembered it. It's been so long, I like couldn't even remember.
It's also going to be, I'm not sure if it is yet or not, because it sounded like maybe they changed the date, so I don't want to say yet, but it's also coming to Netflix, the older episodes.
Oh yeah? Oh, all right.
That announcement. Actually, he talks about it in the interview. Let me see if I can find it by looking it up.
So people who want to catch up on the first 2 seasons before they jump into this, they could quickly catch up and then move.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. I'm not sure if it's there yet, but I know if it's they're recently added. Yeah, it is. Okay, it's there. Well, at least season 1 and no, 2 seasons. Yeah, it's there. Yeah, because they said they weren't sure about the date, but I mean it's showing up when I search it, so it must be out now, I guess. But so yeah, watch it first there if you want to.
Well, you know me, I always save a season finale on my DVR, and I keep it for when it comes back. And so I will be watching.
I don't have enough time on my DVR to do that.
I'll be watching the last season finale before I watch the season premiere next week. And Terry O'Quinn is joining the season this year. So all of you Lost fans out there who've never watched Resident Alien need to watch these first 2 years and catch up. This is a show that I remember how I didn't like it at all in the beginning. Like season 1, the first like 4 episodes, I was like, this show is terrible. I hate this show. I don't want to watch it. And then and
we were like, it's good. Watch it.
And as soon as those kids get involved, I was like, I mean, the kids for me were a great entry point. Or they helped me like it better. It took me a little while, but it was, I still have my issues with it a little bit, but yeah, I've come to really like it. So we'll be covering that next week. Right?
Yes.
Yep. And like I said, that interview with Corey, the one who plays Sheriff Mike, that is out already. So
well, he's a great character, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Great. All right. I think, Jamie, that's bringing us. We have one more show, AJ and I, True Detective.
Yep.
Got anything else?
Fixing stuff while I'm listening to you guys. I'm listening.
All right. Stick around.
I'll stick around for a bit yet on why I'm doing my work.
I'm just going to mute you.
I'm fixing Jill's the images for her review to be up. I had to fix.
Pictures from Walking Dead. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking for the key art to fix.
All right. I'm going to mute you while AJ and I move along.
All right.
All right, AJ. So True Detective. So we are through episode 5 now. There's 1 episode to go. You and I have not talked about this, I think, since episode 1 or 2, right?
Yeah.
I have strong feelings, or I had strong feelings about this show. that really changed a little with episode 5. How have you been feeling about it?
That nobody's likable. except for maybe Peter. Peter might be the only character that I actually like. Like nobody likes Liz. Everybody hates working with Liz. I mean, I do like Evangeline to a point, but she's a little gruff also. Hank is a complete piece of shit. Um, uh, what the heck's the boss? The boss, the cop, Liz's boss. He's a complete jerk. That lady that Liz has to keep dealing with that deals with the mining. She's complete asshole. Yeah. Oh, Leah. I like Leah.
Yeah. I
mean,
so
granted, a lot of that changed in 5, but
I mean, we talked about this before that the characters one is more unlikable than the next. And even like, okay, so I like Leah, but Leah was, cast, she really was sort of like a recalcitrant she was like an annoying teen, not a troubled teen, because Danvers is not the most like understanding and friendly stepmother that she could be. And when she's yelling at Leah to not wear her indigenous tattoos and not like she's being racist, right? Of course, but she thinks she's like expecting more from the kid to get out of this crap town, or like, but she like she definitely like has I mean, it's definitely racist. She definitely thinks that the native people are like a lower, like, why do you have to get out of there? Why is that not a good life to stay there, right? And she also like, I don't know. She's like, I mean, I guess it's kind of like you always say, AJ, like villains don't think they're being villains. Like parents don't think they're being bad parents, even when they are, right?
Right.
I'm coming around a little bit. So I have just a few things here. I just love this picture that HBO put out of like Danvers and Evangeline together. This is from like episode 1 or whatever. I'm coming around on Navarro. I have also found her very unlikable, but particularly in the first 3, but in the second 3, you start to get to know her better. And she talks about like what her mother went through, like running away from Alaska and like how she was raised. And like Navarro's been through some things, right?
And then Julia dying,
Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of emotion from her there, right? One thing that's been bothering me that I haven't liked, so like True Detective was always a really twisty case, right? Actually, this picture is interesting because she's got the photos around her that are like in the spiral that's become, and like the spiral is part of like what's becoming a problem for me. Like I was out the other night and I was sitting with Tom, our old co-host from Twin Peaks, and we both felt like this show was losing us in the middle. Because it was becoming too supernatural and too weird and getting too far away from the possibility of being like a legit crime or a legit story. And like the more people who think they see a dead relative, really it was episode 4 where they go into the dredge, and at the end you see Evangeline like sitting staring at a Christmas tree and she's bleeding out of her ears. And that is not mentioned. It's not mentioned at all in episode 5. Like, there's no like Danvers being like, "Holy shit, what's wrong with your ears? Go to the hospital. What's that all about?" Right? And like this whole like weird, like it was just getting like too much for me with all this weird. And then in episode 5, they pulled it back to like a real crime investigation. Right? There's my girl Evangeline, who I'm starting to like better.
Before Hank's demise, he says, you guys need to know, I didn't kill Annie, I just moved her body." Well, why don't you tell us who killed her then? Because that would be nice.
Yeah, right. I mean, all that hinges on this guy this guy is not Clark, he's Heiss. He's Heiss. This is the guy that I don't even forget where this guy even came from, but he's a heroin addict who apparently was like this is where this show is kind of a problem. The young detective, his name is the son. Hank is the father, and the son is Peter. And Peter does like all this research and finds out that this guy he's not been seen for like 10 years. He has no presence at all for 10 years, right? He's maybe out on the ice, and it looks like he's been like, I don't know how a heroin addict lives out on the ice in the snow in this dredge. Like, where's it getting? I don't know. Like, there seem to be some missing pieces in there, but at any rate, it all hinges around like her finding this guy. He's the guy at the end of episode 4 who says they're in the night country now. And then, in the next episode, he's like, I don't remember saying that. I don't know what's going on. But I enjoyed how episode 5 came around to be more like a real case. And it turns out, come to find out, like, as you said, Hank's like, oh, I didn't kill Annie. I just moved her body. Turns out he did so at the behest of the girl who's the executive director of the mine, whose name is, is that Kayla? Is that her name? No, Kayla is the wife. Kayla is Peter's wife. At any rate, this woman who is the director of the mine, apparently, like, we're not surprised maybe that she's really behind a lot of this stuff. But it was she who, did she pay Hank to move? It's not really clear how she promised Hank that if he helped her with Annie K's body, she would make him chief of police. But that got away from her when Connolly made Danvers chief of police, right? It all really came into focus why he hates Danvers so much for the last 5 episodes. And she's going to coerce him to kill Otto Heiss. That's his name, right? The drug addict. That scene was crazy. That is not how I thought that was going to go down. Did that surprise you? Like, I didn't think Hank would. Wow, that was crazy, right? Wait, you're muted, and I can't unmute you. There you go.
I didn't realize I was still muted.
Like, I didn't like that scene was crazy. I totally forgot that Danvers had given Pete the keys to the house till he showed up in the house.
Yeah, well, as soon as everything was going down, I'm thinking Pete's in the back in the shack in the back. He's going to hear the gunshots. I was like, so he's definitely going to show up. I had a bad feeling he was, and I love the way the scene played out because I had a bad feeling that he was going to shoot his dad, but I like the way Danvers was telling him, think, be smart. Think, be smart. I took it that she was trying to tell him to put his gun down and go with his father, help his father with the body to kind of get Hank's guard down.
Yeah.
And he ended up, and because Pete is who he is, he didn't, he hates his father and realized, that his father just murdered this man. So he's, doing what he's trained to do instead of, but Danvers is like, think. And he didn't think, he just shot him.
Yeah.
I really feel bad for him. I really feel bad for Pryor because like that's going to haunt him. He did, he did the right thing. Hank was going to shoot Danvers. There's no question in my mind about that.
Yeah. He did the right thing. It made sense to me how, like, so they've never really outright said or explained that Hank was a bad father. But when he hit Pete, when Pete comes into the house and takes that box of files, and then later when he hits Peter, I think it goes by Peter, not Pete, but when he hits Peter for taking it, and it really is kind of a, like, it alluded to me. I'm like, oh, was he abusing? Maybe not abusive, but definitely like disciplined that child physically, right? Like that was like nothing the way he just hit Peter in the house that night. Remember that scene?
Yeah, no, I remember that.
Uh,
I mean, it's always been pretty obvious that Hank's a piece of shit. I just wasn't expecting Pete to be quite as involved in. So it's like I feel like there's another shoe to drop though. Like Hank moved the body, but I don't think whoever killed Annie is going to be who we think it was. You know what I mean?
I'm worried that it might be someone we haven't met yet. That it's just going to turn out that the mine lady is the big bad behind it, and that she just had some rando kill Annie, and then, or maybe she killed Annie, and then had
See,
like,
that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's what they're setting it up for. I think I'm expecting for a little more of a turn. Like if it turns out that Ted killed her.
yeah. Oh, Ted killed her by mistake, and that's part of why he.
Well, I don't know if it was by mistake, but
Yeah,
I just feel like there's going to be another shoe.
yeah. Another thing that surprised me. So, like you say, like you feel bad for Peter having shot Hank. It's going to haunt him. And yeah, because Peter's not that guy. He would never shoot someone unless, like, he really believed he was going to shoot
Well, yeah,
Dan.
he had no choice.
Hank was going to kill Danvers, of course.
Yeah.
And Hank was like, I need you to know that I only moved your body, whatever. And even like he raises the gun to Danvers, and Peter raises his gun, and Hank says to Peter, he says something like, "Family's more important. I want you to remember that." Like he's
Blood is blood.
blood is blood. I want you to I can't really want you to remember that, or I want you to remember that after. But he's basically like being like, Peter, you have to. He's like, go along with this. Like, I'm your father. Blood is blood. So this is happening, and you have to like let it happen. You have to, right? He definitely. I mean, of course, he doesn't think that Peter's going to shoot him. I was surprised afterwards when Evangeline is like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to clean it up. We're going to move the bodies, blah, blah, blah. And Danvers is like, no, we can't do that. Evangeline says, look, this kid, we can't. The kid is going to go down. And when Peter says, no, you're right, do what she says, I'll clean up. Like, it was a little surprising only because he seems to be pretty straight and narrow, and Danvers has been training him to be a good cop. And like for a split second, it's like, oh, is he going to turn himself in? Is he going to say, no, I have to turn myself in? And he's like, no, you move the bodies, all clean.
I think what he's starting to see is not everything's cut and dry. And I think that kind of is the whole point of the William, I think, is the guy that Evangeline and Danvers made look like a suicide.
Yeah, Wheeler.
Yeah, William Wheeler. Because that guy was such a bad person. I mean, 10 times that they had to make a visit there, and every time the girlfriend was like, no, everything's fine. I ran into a door, before he finally killed her.
Yeah. And then
my one problem with this whole show, not problem, but the whole ghost thing, and now Evangeline seeing things, and
that's where they're losing me. They're losing me there.
Yeah, me too, because and like I want to know what they're pointing at, because they're all pointing.
Even the little kid pointed. Yeah,
that was weird.
That's where they're losing me, because that's not what this show is. True Detective has always had like a true, even when it flirts with like some, like all of season 1 flirted with like Lovecraftian stories and stuff like that. But in the end, it was just like a true killer, right? Who might have believed some crazy shit, but it was a killer. And this, like, we've had multiple people who see their dead loved ones. And I mean, they're all like indigenous people who express like a belief that the dead are not far from us, and that this is a place where the veil is thin, and like I'm down with that they have these beliefs, but the way that we keep seeing like ghosts, basically, like with the orange rolling around out from under the bed and stuff like that, and just seeing the dead people, and I mean, and we kind of have really stalled on the mystery of why these guys were naked and frozen on the ice in the night. And Connolly's got the story that it was like a flash avalanche.
That's a cover story.
right? And like all this like weather related nonsense of how it killed them. Um, like, yeah, I mean, this show always tends to go to like conspiracy at the top. Not always, but several seasons have, right? Um, I mean, in terms of not being likable, I feel like okay, so there's Hank, loser Hank, who I can't believe I felt sorry for that guy last week when I felt a little sorry for him when his Russian mail order bride
Oh,
like
I
did,
laughed my ass off.
well,
Come on.
everybody knew it was coming except him, right? Everybody
Yeah.
knew, even he knew. I think it was coming in some sense, right?
Well, it was like the week before when he was like, he's like, he's like, I got a little extra money. I can send some money to you. And I'm thinking, you moron. Like,
and then
she is not coming to see you.
and then later, Peter's like, "You didn't send her any money, did you?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I did think like there's been some there's poor Peter. I'm not good with my slides tonight. We talked about him a lot. There's this scene where Leah is like says to Danvers, "You know how many babies have died stillborn in the last 3 months?" And she's like, "Yeah, this one." And Leah's like, "No, 9. Like 9 babies been stillborn in 3 months. Like the mine is poisoning us. The mine is killing us." And Danvers goes to the morgue, which is this insane morgue, which is just like a plywood house, but it's so cold that they can just, the guy's like, look, it's gonna be 3 months before we can dig into the ground to bury them. So everybody who dies apparently just stays in this like ice house until the spring, right? And that Danvers comes there to see the bodies of these babies was like a huge, like a huge move for her character. She's so closed off since her own child died, right? And
Which we
she's,
still don't know how.
I mean, the husband died also, so I assume it was a horrible accident, right? But we don't know. We don't know, but some type of horrible accident. But that she went to see these 9 little coffins of these 9 little babies was kind of I mean, surprising to me because she's just not that person. I mean, I guess it's necessary because it looks like the denouement of the season is that they're gonna have to go after the mine, right? It's all coming from the mine.
That mine is getting closed.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind.
And Danvers hasn't really. She hasn't been concerned about what the mine is doing because her water's not running. Her water's clean, right? And she's not from there, and she'll get out someday. And she's really, I mean, I guess as one who lost her child, she can really empathize with these moms who've lost their babies, maybe, is where.
And that's the weird thing. Like, it's, I don't know. Like, Danvers is like, Danvers knows that the mine is wrong. She knows it. But she's so stuck on being a cop and serving and protecting and everything. It's like she can't bring herself to, to really be like, yeah, I'm not going to help you guys because this is wrong. And I don't care if they spray paint your building.
No, she even like the first thing she says when she goes out there, she's like, "Oh, so that mess at the mine, the protest, that wasn't my police. That was the state troopers that screwed that up. Like that has nothing to do with me." Yeah. She's like, she's not even like she's not. She's
and it's weird. I want to see, I mean, there's only one more episode. Is there 6 or 8?
I believe there's only 6. Next week is it, I think.
Weren't the other seasons 8 though?
They might have been, but this one is not.
What was my point?
About
so her husband. So the thing that gets me is her husband was Native American, and I want to learn more about what happened and everything because it's like it's weird. It's like she wants to care for Leah because she's, her dead husband's daughter. But like you said, she just like, it's like she has this. I wonder if he died because of something with, with some kind of if her husband was some kind of activist or something, and maybe that had something to do with his death. Because like you said, she's, it's like, I guess the best way to put it is she's unknowingly racist with the way she makes these comments to Leah all the time, which is what strikes me as funny, because you wouldn't think she's racist when, she was married to a Native American. So it's like, I almost wonder if that's what kind of turned her opinion on things, which is why I want to learn more about her history.
Well, and so they were not, I don't know that her husband and child were killed in, I forget the name of the town that they live in. But she was sort of like banished to this town by Connolly. And he says it was promotion to make her chief of police, but she was sent out there because she was like a pain in his ass or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so they weren't living here, or like, I don't know if they were living Ennis. It's called Ennis. I don't know if they were in Ennis when her husband and child were killed. And where I'm going with this is like, so she's married to an indigenous Alaskan, and her stepdaughter is, also an indigenous person. But if where they were living was not a place where she had to be part of an indigenous community, maybe, right? Like maybe she was living in, I don't know, like, so I'm not from Fairbanks or Anchorage, but they're larger cities with more probably, urban, I don't know. Like, I'm not like, okay, so there are a lot of people who are racist and don't know that or don't think they're racist, right? And like their life is not about like being in the Klan, but like they're just like spouting microaggression all day long at everyone around them. In Danvers' case, it's not micro, it's mega aggression. But she doesn't think she's a racist, right? She just thinks she wants better for her kid or whatever. But she's I don't know where it kind of came from. And she's been very like she goes to the mine when Leah spray paints it, and she's like, oh, let her off the hook. She's been very acquiescent to this mine. And like now when it turns out that maybe these bodies, these 9 babies are upsetting to her, or maybe when she's learning that this like it's the one murder that really is like turning her against this like the mine's been polluting everyone. She kind of didn't care, but the one case she could never solve, the mine's behind it. Now the mine's going down, right? Now it's about Liz Danvers. Now the mine's got to go down. When the mine was just about poisoning everybody except for her, she maybe didn't care that much. But now that it's this one case, I don't know. Like she's in this scene, this slide I'm showing, she was a little more likable, but it doesn't like absolve her many faults, right?
No.
What else I got here? That's it. That's the last picture I got. So let me see if I can figure out how to stop presenting. I don't know if I know how to do this. Oh, I know how to do it. I'm just going to remove it from the... Yeah, boom, there we are. How do you like my new picture? Oh, you can't see it. I got a new avatar.
Is that Speedy?
That's Speedy, and the picture I took, it just got her eyes perfectly. So they were like...
Yeah.
There's this beer called Elysian Brewery, and their logo is a tiger with lasers coming out of its eyes. And that's Speedy in that picture. She looks like she's going to shoot lasers at you.
Cool.
So one more episode of True Detective. I hope it can swing it back. Like this 5th episode gave me a little hope that it could have a good ending and not be like too annoying with this. But the whole supernatural thing is not like, it really bothers me, that part where Navarro was staring at the Christmas tree and bleeding from the ears, and it's never mentioned again, right? Like, what? She didn't even go to the doctor.
That scene was weird to begin with because the way they flashed it, like she's talking to can't remember the guy's name, the guy upstairs,
Otto, yeah.
At the same time, she's coming around the corner talking to Evangeline. So it's like, why are they doing this? Like she's in 2 places at the same time. Like
I thought
one scene and move on to the other. Like that was weird.
I thought the same thing.
It'd be one thing if they cut from that scene and then she finds Evangeline, but then they cut back to her and Otto, and then back to her and Evangeline, and I'm like, why? Like that's poor. That's bad editing, I guess maybe.
Well, maybe they did it on purpose to make you think she was in 2 places.
Actually, my first thought was, I was like, that's my first thought was that the one, one with Evangeline wasn't Danvers, that she was like seeing shit, but that wasn't the case because then the episode just ends. So, and then the next
Yeah.
episode picks up, and Otto's, in the loony bin.
I mean, I kind of thought like they could. So Evangeline is sitting there; she's bleeding from the ears. Like, what's going on? And they never address it. And I thought, okay, like those guys who were found dead on the ice, they were bleeding, and could it be they talked about changes in pressure? But in the previous episode, Evangeline picked a fight with like 6 miners, and they beat the shit out of them.
That was awesome.
Right?
It was only 3, but that was fun. That was
all right. It was awesome, but could she be bleeding from inside? Could she be hemorrhaging in her head from having the shit beaten out of her? Right? Like that's a possible explanation, but they just don't. So I just looked it up, AJ, and the first 3 seasons of True Detective all had 8 episodes, and this one is 6.
This one is 6, yeah.
I'm not sure if we need 8 or not. Like, I wouldn't want 2 more episodes of people seeing dead people and being like, I see dead people, right? Like, I don't need more of that. I don't need more of that. And I don't need, so you know that part where Navarro was putting her sister, like Rose is helping Evangeline to put Julia's ashes into the ice, into the sea, right? And then there's like, she stands up, she's walking, and there seems to be like some time lost. And Rose is like, what were you doing walking out to the sea? Why were you doing that? I was calling you. Didn't you hear me?
Because I was in a desert.
Right? I mean, it's possible that mental illness is running in Evangeline's family because her mother seems to have her sister definitely, her mother seems to probably have suffered from mental illness also. And
her mother definitely too, because that was the whole thing. They kept she kept telling Julia, "You're not like mom. You're not like mom. You're not like mom."
Yeah. But I just don't think like Navarro could be be such a good cop and so with it and together and then have these moments where she's not. I mean, it's just the whole supernatural paranormal thing is just too much for me. It needs to be reined in, and they need to and unfortunately that means next week when they wrap the mystery, as you said, there's so much that's unspoken. It's going to be the whole murder of Annie K is going to be solved in like 5 minutes of one episode next week, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've got a pretty good head start considering, now that they know Hank's involved and they need, and they know that they need to go to the caves. So
yeah,
the pieces are coming together for them finally.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, that reminds me. I think probably my favorite scene of these past couple episodes is when Navarro flips on Danvers after Danvers tells her that they pulled the plug on the investigation, and she tells her, you carry Annie now. And she I thought that was that whole thing with Evangeline was great. I love that scene.
Yeah, that was pretty great. She's she's been mad at Danvers for years for dropping it.
Yeah.
And then it looks like Danvers gonna do it, and then she drops it, right? I mean, Navarro's right. She's like, you carry Annie now. It's like Danvers got her hopes up and turned out not to be the person she thought she was gonna be again. Right? Danvers did cave really easily.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Ted did threaten her with the
Wheeler killing.
The Wheeler's deal, so.
I mean, we know because we saw the flashback. We know that it was Navarro who shot him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And but partly because she saw the ghost of the dead wife and that made her shoot, right? Like she sees the ghost, right? In that scene?
Yeah, well, we don't know until we just found out in, I think, the last episode.
And so does Navarro? Do you think that Navarro knows that Danvers covered the whole thing up and flipped all the pictures and like?
Oh, she has to.
She has to know. Navarro knows, right? Because she shot him. Well, she shot him, and there's no blowback on him. Yeah, and she was working for. That's before she got promoted to state trooper. She was working for Danvers then. Yeah. I mean, I liked that. I liked it in itself because it showed that Danvers really, her affection for Navarro and her loyalty to her person. And this guy Wheeler, was a piece of shit that does anybody deserve to die? I don't know, but he was a bad guy. It's no loss. And what Danvers did for her, right? And it actually it makes sense when you see later after Peter shoots Hank and Navarro goes right into like damage control and Danvers is right there and they've done it before. And it's funny because Peter like just figured it out and he was very judgmental when he figured it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he definitely thought that was not the right thing to do to cover that.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said before, he's starting to learn that everything isn't black and white.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll see more about that next week. We'll wrap that up. On next week's show,
and Resident Alien, and I think that's it.
Quantum Resident Alien, The End of True Detective, and we might have, I don't know what else is emerging on TV in the next couple weeks. We don't discuss so
One to Live, that's the 25th, 24th, 25th, whichever one's a Sunday.
So it's not coming before our next episode.
No, but Jill will be on next week to give a non-spoiler
review. Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, she's going to talk about it. I'll probably talk a bit about it, and we'll talk about some of her other stuff.
Did she go to the premiere also?
No, a different person went to the premiere. Well, she went to the premiere, but she didn't go to the premiere for SciFi Vision.
Yeah, Jill went on her own behalf to the premiere, right?
Yes, yeah, she still went to the premiere, so she can talk about that. She can talk about that. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like a plan. And also I posted it in the chat so people know. I don't know if it'll be next week or not. I'm working to get it done, but I'm gonna pretty soon have up a store with some fandom stuff that hopefully people will like, that will help me be able to get my site fixed. My site is still dying. It's slowly dying a bad death until I can fix it and get a server. So if you guys help support the site and check it out. I'll be putting that on social media.
Fundraising. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know what else is coming on. I know, Jamie, that we don't cover La Brea on this show, but the series finale is going to be next week, right? Or this week.
Yeah, I think it's this week, I want to say. But yeah, that's coming up. And then also, like I said, 3 Body Problems soon. I'm trying to think what else is soon. Not necessarily stuff you guys will watch. Like, I think the Avatar series is coming soon. It's based on the original cartoon, not on James Cameron's Avatar. That's coming. I'm trying to think anything else. Yeah, I don't know. My mind's blanking. I think we've talked about everything.
Well, and big news today from Apple TV. Not anytime soon, but Invasion got renewed for season 3. AJ and I are thrilled.
Yes.
It'll probably be like a year and a half before it comes on TV. It's so full of effects, and maybe they haven't even written it yet, but we love that show.
Discovery's back in 50 days.
50
days.
All right. Well, we got that. We got some, and Constellation is coming before then. So we'll get our show. Remember those days when there are times on this program, people, where we cover like 5, 6, 7 shows and we talk forever about them. So enjoy the short show while we have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've somehow almost talked for 2 hours.
All right. Well, it's time for us to jump then.
But that's it. But the only other thing is, like, just remember, don't forget to check out scifivision.com at 3 a.m. Eastern tonight. Jill's review will be up.
So, because that's it's embargoed till midnight in LA. That's why.
Yes, which is why we're going to put it up at 3, because it's done. It's ready. I'm scheduling social media posts right now. So
well, you're normally awake at 3 a.m. anyway, Jamie, right? So
this is true.
Yeah.
But
all right. Well, I'm so glad. Thank you for bearing with us. And AJ's mic is getting better and better the longer we stay on the air.
Yeah.
I found my headphones.
He says, and then it goes out.
Excellent.
That's great.
All right, kids. Thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to enter the contest for Sammy's book. Again, I reposted that on socials. So, all right. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.